think it's going to be, I think it's going to be awesome.
Okay.
It's going to be really great.
We just let it rock and roll.
So here we are with Marilynn Hughes.
And Brian Mahlum.
What? And today we're going to be talking about how to have an out-of-body experience, mystical practices now and across the ages.
Yes, we are. We're doing it. That's right.
I was thinking about this the other day, Marilynn, and out-of-body experience. There's like some synonyms for that. Right?
Yep.
So I think sometimes people will just hear terminology and it kind of gets to be old hat, where they'll just be like, just like, oh, out-of-body experience. But to me, I was thinking about what is out-of-body experience? It's expanded consciousness. It's, we're in this avatar and we have kind of a limited scope of the real eternal reality and truth that exists dimensionally, interdimensionally, through timelessness and throughout infinity. But we're here, so we can learn lessons, so we can purify, grow, and kind of earn this capability to expand our consciousness into different realms and to meet different, beautiful entities and beings that are going to assist us and teach us. And so there's so much more to out-of-body experience, I think, than some people, initially will take on once they hear that term.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I want to do with this this time that we're going to do together, so that we can kind of help people to understand the deeper purpose as well as the practice and how to work towards achieving it. Because the goal isn't just to have an out-of-body experience. The out-of-body experience itself is the tool that will assist the soul in seeking the truth, not only about his own soul, himself, herself, but also the truth of existence. And so when we're talking about learning how to have an out-of-body experience, we're learning to use this tool, but the tool's purpose is to seek the truth, seek God, and to, inevitably, as we will talk about more as we talk about these processes, is increase that vibrational thrust of the soul so that we become more and more capable of taking in higher and higher understanding and truth. And so the just having the experience is not the goal. One of the interesting things about this, I had a mystical experience about a month and a half ago about some important points to bring up, which was the fact that many people actually do have out-of-body experiences spontaneously. And sometimes we'll even not think something like this is for them because of that. And then there are those who don't have them, who really think that having the out-of-body experience is going to be the end all. And both views are somewhat not exactly correct. So, when you're already having experiences, you have literally become able to use a tool. But the cultivation is what has to then come next. And that's even more important than bringing about the original tool in the first place. And for those who haven't had the experience, who think it's the end all, you need to understand it is the tool, it's not the truth. So the tool is going to be useful in achieving these higher and higher thrusts into knowledge. But those initial experiences, it's no different than learning to read. When you read Go Spot Go, you haven't reached the pinnacle of what's available to us in literature or reading. You've just opened the very basic first door. And that's what we want to try to help people to recognize. We want to go deeper.
And also, for those of us like myself who the ceiling for my reading is Go Spot Go, is that's all that we kind of know when we're at that age, when we're reading that type of literature, is that's all there is. It's like, oh, go, and we don't know that there's all this other,
Yes.
way beyond that, right? And so what we're doing here today is we're not just saying, hey, here's some techniques so you can
Right.
get out of your body and go check out the whole universe, because it's something that actually that we need to earn.
We earn it, and we cultivate it, and we utilize it according to the will of God. Elsewise, we risk either losing it or for the gift to remain very stationary, very earthbound, and very grounded. And, a lot of people do get caught up in just like roaming the astral plane or doing things like roaming around the earth and just kind of experimenting with it. That's the Go Spot Go. We want to take you to Norton's Anthology of English Literature. So we want to go much deeper than that. And so in the mystical experience I had about giving this class, one of the things I was shown was a lot of the students who would be watching it would be thinking, oh, I know this, I've done this, I've done this. But yet there was a lack of awareness that the depth that we're discussing and trying to achieve is much deeper than what they actually have experienced. And so we also want to avoid this very easy trap that we all have of thinking, oh, I've already done that, been there, not realizing that there is much more than that. There is a much deeper place, and we want to be cultivating the gift in a way to reach those places. And let's not assume, I certainly don't assume that even now in my mystical journey after 34 years, I've learned you do not assume that you're ever there, wherever there is, because there's always going to be higher and higher thrusts of knowledge for us to enter into. And, we are still literally, even upon this earth, just moving within the realms of knowledge that we can contain in the human structure. And, even beyond our earthly human lives, there will lie even higher levels of existence and emanation that we can't even touch on because we're not able to, because this is where we are. But part of the human condition is just that pride of thinking that we are further than we really are. And it's just important for us to always realize that there is always a higher thrust. There will never be an end to it. And then if we ever do reach the end of human knowledge, which probably we won't, in this lifetime, there's still all these other worlds and eons beyond that we probably can't really even touch into very much while we remain human. So we're literally trying to cultivate and perfect this level of evolution so that we can actually consider being able to earn a place in those higher and higher fields of learning when we cross over or as we continue to evolve.
And so when we speak of God, we also speak of cosmic consciousness.
Universal being, the field of being, the field of existence, all of these things. Yes. And
also, like when you just said about how, I think it's often, because it's happened to you so many times, just talking to you, reading your books, listening to your audiobooks and stuff, that you'll have like something amazing where you're like, oh, can never be any more than that. And it's like, oh wait, and subsequently,
and it's
like
like,
it's
oh
going deeper and
wow.
deeper. But I think that, you know, it's kind of, it's human. It's like it's normal to us to, maybe there's 1,000-foot deep lake, and then it's called, you know, Lake Lucidity, and then we dip our toe in the lake, and they're like, have you ever been to Lake Lucidity? Oh yeah, I've been. It's amazing. You know, so there's so much more, and it's wonderful, it's great, and it's exciting, and it's intense. And so for me, it's just inspirational to know that there's so much more to learn and to grow from. And sometimes it's kind of hard because it's like, oh man, I'm failing like in this way, in this way, in this way. But that's just part of the process that we're in. So this
Well,
is,
you know, that's interesting though, because I hear that from everybody, and you know, my spiritual counseling clients, and from people. Whenever we go through the purification process, it is so normal for us to think we're just failing at everything, and we do kind of lose sight of the fact that when we are actually going through the purification process, we're not failing. We're actually identifying, which means we are actually moving, possibly for the first time in many lifetimes, or in this lifetime. And so these moments when we get morose and we feel like, wow, I really suck, you know, because I just saw this about myself. It's important to realize that we all share in that experience, but it's actually, you know, it's a sign of predilection when God chastens us, when he corrects us. And so these corrections are an indication that God has deemed it worthy of his time, because he believes we will make good use of his graces. And that means that we will take the corrections, and, you know, we'll go through whatever grief or moroseness we go through, but we will move through it and then focus on getting empowered about, okay, so how do I address those and alter them in my life, rather than staying stuck in that place, which is something we all also struggle with doing. And so the more you go through this purification process, the more you will learn that the better we get at moving through the corrections, the quicker we accelerate.
and when we say that we are purifying, what we're also saying is getting rid of those things that don't serve us, fetters, as it's been called, so that we can then raise to higher levels of consciousness, being, energetic truth, eternal
Right.
wisdom.
Well, and one of the things you learn in the out-of-body experience is that sin or fetters or cravings or hindrances are actually weight on the soul. And so they actually hold us down, literally, like in a physical way, in the mystical spheres. And that is what actually determines our compatibility in the afterlife, is the weight of our soul. And it's interesting when you take that and you go, sorry, I got a little allergy thing going on here. But
Here, I'll do it too.
thanks, Brian.
There you go. Look at
Thank
us.
you for
That's our signal.
sympathizing and compassionating with me on that. But you know, it's interesting that the ancient Egyptians, in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, that one of the big parts of it was weighing the heart, you know, weighing the good deeds and the bad deeds, because it's very, very accurate. And it shows us that even in the earliest of times, there was a certain connection to the divine and to the spirit, where there was an awareness that our good deeds and our bad deeds and our the weight of the soul was a real thing. And so
The powerful word that, you know, stands out for me is compatibility. And I think that people going on this journey really look into that word and what it means, and what it's all about, because that's why we're letting go of this weight, is so that we can become compatible to higher and higher realms. If we're not compatible, we ain't going there. It's
right.
it's going to be too heavy, and there's going to be, oh gosh, I want to go up to that one. No, you got to let go of some of the weight.
Right. And you know, this is one of the things that requires a little bit of that thought, you know, about what is it that you're compatible to, and think about the things that you love. Remember, because it is what we love that we become. And so if it's a love of sex or lust, it can go in that regard. If it's a love of money, then that's what you're becoming compatible to. If it's a love of just the material world alone, or the pleasures of the material world alone, then that is where your compatibility. And so this is what's happening. So, you know, ironically, in the play of the virtues, the Ordo Virtutum by Saint Hildegard von Bingen, she wrote the first, what is considered in many circles to be the very first opera, and it was called the Ordo Virtutum. And this is something that people might actually want to take a look at if they have on their spare time. There are some productions of it that are done very well, but it's the play of the virtues. And Saint Hildegard shows the angels of the virtues working to redeem a single human soul who is being taken away by Satan through a series of different temptations. There's lust temptations, and the virtues are literally in a circle in heaven, singing down the prayers upon this soul and helping that soul to rise up. And so this is the play of life. The play of the virtues is the play of the human mortal life, which is the purpose of this existence. And so what I'd like to do is, for what I was shown in this mystical experience about teaching this class, would like to go ahead and do this. And what I was shown was that it was important to kind of allow people taking the class to get into kind of a meditative state, because we want to kind of loosen up the subconscious so that you can take in these ideas on more than one level. And when you see what I'm doing with my hands here, it's, yeah, and you probably know why because you read all the books, but this is actually one of the things that I was taught early on by the angels, is that you hold your fingers together like this, and it multiplies the vibration by a huge amount, at least 5 times. It might have been more. I can't remember exactly. It was a long time ago when I was shown this. But a lot of times when I meditate, I'll do it with my hands over my heart like this, because, and I experienced this in the out-of-body travel state, where you bring your hands together and it's like, you know, the vibration is just really revved up. And so, you know, sometimes you're bringing them together one finger at a time because it's so intense. You got to, you know, and so for those who are comfortable with it, go ahead and, you know, you can do this sitting up or lying down. We're going to have Brian sitting up with me, because we're going to have Brian in a space where he can be both meditative but also conversational, and you know, so we can talk about all the things that you guys would ask if you were here to ask. And so Brian's going to have that twofold purpose, which he always serves so well. And and so, you know, go ahead and put your hands together like this and get in a comfortable position for you, whether that's lying down, whether that's sitting up. If you are sitting up, I would recommend that you do so with something on the back, just so that we're not focusing on any types of physical discomfort here. We want to be in a state of relaxation. This is not going to be a disciplinary type of meditative practice. This is going to be a relaxing kind of meditation. And I'm going to just kind of draw you down gently, not profoundly deeply, but we're going to draw you down a little bit gently, because I want you to be conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. I want all of those parts hearing on these different levels as we move into these steps. So go ahead with that. And I'm going to start counting down from 10. And with each successive number, I'd like you to drop in consciousness to a deeper state by about 1,000 times. And as we move down, I want you to go from your very tippy toes and up through the top of your head. We're going to try to tense and relax, tense and relax. This is a really good way to kind of drop the body away and pull your body into a good limp type state where we can get into a relaxed meditation. And so 10, go ahead and wiggle your toes a little bit and your feet, and then just, when you're ready, just stop. Get the nervous energy out of your feet, and then just stop. And I want you to move up through your calves. Maybe stiffen those up for just a second. 9. And then release those muscles. Let them fall away like butter, like water. Imagine your parts of your body just becoming fluid as we move up. So in your kneecaps, we're going to tighten them up, and your thighs. 8. And we're going to release them. And your butt and your hips, your lower abdomen. Just a little bit of, light tightening up. But as you release it, feel it as if like the breath just comes out of all those muscles, and it's like, not a thing to worry about here. Just total relaxation, total calm. 7. Moving up to the rib cage, your chest, and tighten it up. 6. And release. Your shoulders and your elbows. Feel free to move your arms into a position that's more relaxed than what you may already be in. Release. 6, 5. Feel those forearms in your hands and your fingers. If you need to, just pull your hands apart, tighten up your fists a little bit, let them go. Flip them around if you need to. Think of your body becoming kind of like that dish rag thing. Just everything's becoming limp, relaxed. Let it all go. 4. Go up into your neck with gentler tightening there. We don't want to create any additional tension in the neck. 3. We want you to tighten up the back of your head, and then just move through your eyes, your face, your cheeks, your lips. Purse your lips if you need to. If you need to, use your hands to kind of just loosen up your cheeks, muscles around your eyes, whatever feels tense. And then when you're ready, release it all. Put your hands back into a position that you're comfortable with. If you feel so moved, go ahead and put those fingers back together. But if you feel better in a different position, that is also okay. 2. As we now enter into one, I want you to realize that you will hear me consciously, unconsciously, subconsciously, and your spirit will also be listening. And on all these levels, we want to bring this in so that your higher self, your spirit, your soul, and your body can work on all these levels to assist in bringing about this tool we call the out-of-body experience. And as we reach the bottom number, I want you to feel totally relaxed. 1. And again, feel comfortable with whatever you feel moved to do. If you want to open your eyes, if you want to keep your eyes closed, either option is fine, but just try to stay in that calm, relaxed space. And we're going to start by talking about preparation for out-of-body travel and experiences. And there are a few steps we want to discuss about what you do when you are changing up your life, so to speak, to make it more compatible with the spiritual experience, with the possibility of the spirit separating from your form, from your body. And so there's several things we would want to talk about with that. One of the biggest things is seeking the silence. So we want to be able to find a place in our world, in our life, where we can create a place of silence for us. Kind of difficult in today's world because everyone's got their phones and all their electronics. But when we talk silence, we want to turn all those things off because we want to start receiving transmissions from the higher spiritual worlds, the higher spiritual vibrations. And so we want to turn off all those transmissions from down below, which are literally cluttering up those circuits. And we want to shut out the noise in seeking the silence as well. And then one of the things we have to recognize and pursue is how you're going to set aside self-serving motivations. So we're going to seek the out-of-body experience for something greater than this personal desire or wish that we have that fulfills something for us alone. We are going to seek the out-of-body experience from a place of understanding which indicates to us that evolution of our own particular soul actually raises up that vibration and evolution within the entire universal consciousness. So in seeking the out-of-body experience, we are recognizing that there is more to this than just the personal adventure or thrill of it, or even our own personal development. Because what happens is when we rise, we are creating a momentum of energy for others to also rise. And that is how we utilize out-of-body travel then to serve not just our own aspect of creation, but all of creation. And an extension of that then is seeking the will of God alone. And for some, this will be very simple. For others, it'll be a very diametrically opposed point of view in pursuing the spiritual life. But it's very important because if we seek the spiritual experience, understanding that the will of God alone is our goal, and truly cultivating that,